The only thing I probably won't have the doc up on the screen share because then that'll just be all they see on YouTube.
That's fine. Whatever you think.
Setting up your meeting. How's your wedding, Rooney?
It's all right. The we st we stayed with another couple because the hotel situation was weird, so we had to like pair up. And
Right.
the wife of the
All
other,
right, here we go.
are we on?
Yeah, we just kicked on here.
Okay, awesome.
All
Welcome everybody.
right, hold on. There we go. We're good.
What are we recording as well, Heath?
Yeah, that's a good call. Let me check.
Yeah, I didn't hear the little
Uh,
voice.
as you can see, Collier, we're just figuring this out now for the first time.
You're good.
There we
All
go.
right, there we go. Awesome. Go ahead, Collier. So you'll do that intro from the bold.
Yep. Welcome to the diving pod. I'm Collier Dyer, diving at Mizzou.
And I'm Heath Calhoun.
And I'm Aaron Rooney, and we all know this podcast is brought to you by Sideline Scout, the best in video replay in the business. Make sure you check out sidelinescout.com, see what they have to offer, and make it part of your pool deck. Also, Diving 101 is episode number 2 of the Diving Pod. So if you're new to the sport or want a refresher on how the numbers and how to score points works, just head there, the Diving Pod, episode number 2.
And then our other sponsor is Crossbar. If you go to divingpod.com, you can go ahead and check out how their website works. It's pretty user friendly. It's definitely set up for clubs. If you want to do clinics, camps, things like that, very easy to use. But without further ado, Collier, all right, you have to hit our listeners with a book, movie, and TV show recommendation.
All right, so movie, I'd probably go 42. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it's the
Mhm.
Jackie Robinson story. I love that movie. TV show, if you want to just like not pay attention to it, probably like Modern Family. Um, but I also love Queen's Gambit for one that I'm like dialed into. That's a great one. And then book, I'm in the middle of reading Greater Than Gold by David Baddiah. I'm loving it so
Nice.
far. But I also recommend, everybody reads collection of books, the Bible. But yeah, from the modern era, probably David's book. I'm liking it.
Nice. Dude, I no lie, loved Queen's Gambit. When it came out, I binged that so fast, but it was
Yeah.
like you have to really stay engaged in what's going on. So I know what you're saying. If you want to tune it out, not the right show.
Nope.
But if you're
Yeah.
into it, like it's a sweet, sweet show.
Yeah. It's super awesome.
Cool. All right, so let's stick with rapid fire. What's your favorite food, favorite music, and then a fun fact?
Favorite food? I love food in general. So I'd probably just say seafood uh, would probably be in my favorites category. Music really depends kind of on my mood, but I would say the fun stuff's more like EDM, house music, rap. I didn't used to be an EDM fan, but Jack Ryan kind of got me into it. And then fun fact is that I love to solve Rubik's cubes, and anytime I go out of town, almost every time I take them with me. I travel with them, so that's cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
All right. So now, Collier, take us through kind of your diving journey, how you got started in diving, and kind of how you got to where you are now.
Yeah, so growing up, I played like pretty conventional sports. I played football, basketball, baseball, tennis, wrestling. And then my freshman year of high school, I wanted to play a third sport for my high school because I wanted to be like a tri-sport athlete or, you know. But a long time ago, when I was like 7 or 8, we had a family friend who dove at the University of Arizona. Her name is Tiffany Steinmetz. She she told my mom, she was like, "Hey, he'd be really good at diving." And we kind of just forgot about it until I was trying to decide between track and diving for my high school. And so I ended up choosing diving. And then after that high school season, I went back and I played football the next fall, my sophomore year of high school. So I stuck with that for one more season. And then after that, my family and I decided that because I was really loving diving, I was just like this, I'm so interested in this. I don't know much about it, but we decided I'd join Mile High Dive Club in like December, January, kind of 2020. So like right before the COVID shutdown. But yeah, from there, it was just kind of a grind under the incredible coaching of Jack and Jen over there. Um, yeah, I made some lifelong buddies, and I was just blessed to end up at Mizzou somehow to continue my athletic career. Committed early my senior year, and Mizzou's been nothing short of incredible and fantastic so far under Kyle's coaching. Um, I wasn't heavily recruited in high school, and rightfully so. I wasn't very good. But I looked at Louisville, West Virginia, and Mizzou were the trips that I took, and it came down to Mizzou versus West Virginia, and I picked Mizzou just because I thought it was, the SEC was a bit more competitive, and I didn't really know still a lot about diving, but I was like, I like what's going on here. I'm gonna go with that.
That's
There,
absolutely insane.
well, the other thing I was going to say is, not necessarily heavily recruited, but coming from Mile High Diving Club, like there's
Oh,
there's totally like a little asterisk next to not heavily recruited, because I feel like so many people from that Mile High Diving Club, even if you might not be the shining star on the team or the number 1 or 2 diver, you're still going to be really dang good coming from that program.
yeah, exactly. And they've got a system. Jack and Jen have got it down over there. I don't even know how many D1 athletes they've produced, but it's probably more than I could count. I'm sure it's in the hundreds.
Yeah, that's super
That
cool.
that's wild. So just a follow up for you, Collier, is just talk to us about going through really picking up into diving through COVID. Like, what were those challenges like for you, and how did you manage to improve? We've talked to some athletes that talked about their path through that, but what was your path like through COVID?
It was really it was a little frustrating at the time, especially with that being my sophomore year. And I was like, oh gosh, recruiting starts kind of this next year. And so we weren't I think when March 2020 hit, we weren't in the pool for a while. We were only on go-to meeting, as a team doing like conditioning and stretching. And so, from my perspective at the time, I was like, I'm not getting better doing any of this. Um, but it was really cool. It's cool to look back and think that, that was probably a blessing in disguise, because I think I would have even been like less recruited during my junior year of high school. And it gave me another year to kind of improve and almost get a fresh start my senior year with recruiting in general. So looking back, it was definitely not the worst thing in the world for me.
All right, so back to the high school days. What position did you play in football?
I was a slot receiver.
Nice.
I'm pretty fast. I like to think.
Fast, and then just get exploded by the middle linebacker going across the
Yep,
field.
happened a couple times.
Hand up. Yeah, that was me too. I'm very much undersized as far as football goes, but
Yeah.
yeah, speedy and not afraid to lower the boom.
What'd you play?
Same. I was a slot receiver
Okay,
as well.
nice, sweet.
Too funny. All right, man. So what's your favorite dive?
Um, when I hit it, I love 109, but probably 303C all time. Just love me a good 303 when
On
I
one
when it goes
one
well.
meter or 3 meter?
Probably 3 meter.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow. Nice.
yeah.
There's
Um,
something special about those gainers at Mile High Dive Club. You guys just seem to have it all figured out with that category.
yeah, I don't know. They've got something cooking over there. I need to go figure it out. But
I think you're figuring it out pretty darn well from just what we've watched. All right, so kind of talking about gainers here.
mhm.
For those people that haven't watched NCAA's this past year, kind of take us back to what happened to NCAA's on your reverses on tower, and then kind of some follow-ups are like, in the moment, what was going through your mind? And then post that, what steps did you take to come back? And I added on here not only back, but like you added a flip in just a few short months to get ready for Olympic trials. So just kind of talk to us about that a little bit and let us know what that process was like for
Yeah,
you.
for sure. So I kicked out a little bit before double and hit the platform. Like, so in the moment, it was kind of like I was a little flustered because the dives before hadn't gone exactly how I wanted. I think maybe in the back of my mind, I was like, all right, I need nines here. Like, let's do it, because normally on that dive I would kick down anyway, and it was aesthetically pleasing and everything like that. So I was like, I know I can get high scores on this dive. Um, so I felt the takeoff. I was watching the video, like I was pretty high up there, and it felt pretty fast. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna kick pretty early on this. I'm gonna try and make it look real pretty. And then I just remember seeing like the scoreboard, and I'm like, why am I seeing the scoreboard here? I'm doing a front
Oh,
flip now. And then I like heard the crowd and everything, like, the collective gasp. And at that point I was in the water, and I didn't want the lifeguard to jump in and get me, so I was just like, I'm fine. I'm good. But yeah, that was definitely, it kind of felt like a dream in the moment. Not a dream, like more like a nightmare, but like one of those things that you're like, did I really just do that in front of all these people? Um, and then getting back to diving. So I was in a boot for 2 weeks after NCAA's. I didn't break anything somehow by the grace of God, but I had a bone contusion in my right foot. So just like a super big bone bruise. And I was super eager to get back, mostly because I was just like, I want to see how this is going to affect me. I want to get back on tower. Um, but really, I had no problems getting back up to 10 meter. Um,
nice.
I think so. Right after that event, Jack Ryan came up to me and he was like, there's never been a clearer sign to learn 307 in the history of diving. And so that, I guess, in a way kind of gave me confidence. I was like, yeah, I can probably learn this dive. And I'd been doing gainer triples that fall, so like I knew we were heading in that direction. But getting back up, learning it, I really had no problems. But the biggest like mental problems came when I had to compete again, because I think my mind just kind of went back to that state of kind of fear or hesitancy,
Mhm.
trepidation, whatever you want to call it. And so every dive I was just like afraid, and that
Mhm.
is not exactly what you want at meets. But yeah, it's probably where I'm at so far.
And now just kind of following up, like, so it sounds to me like the physical side of it really wasn't an issue for you coming back. It sounds like it was the mental side, which a lot of athletes can relate to. So
Mhm.
what are you doing now in preparation for this upcoming season to work on that side of things?
Well, I think the past 2 years I've just been so bogged down by like results or things that aren't going my way, that not only was I not acknowledging progress that I was making, I wasn't even seeing it. I
Mhm.
wasn't even seeing that I was getting better and that things were happening and that it just takes time. I think now, I talked about this with my team kind of when we were talking about our goals for the season during our first practice. But my goal this year is just to like enjoy everything, find joy in the sport, be there for other people, kind of take the focus off myself in a way. Um, and I think it's provided so far like a whole new perspective in diving, knowing that, this isn't where I'm rooted. Like it's okay. Just try and enjoy it, the ups and the
Yeah.
downs. Just have a smile on your face and have a good attitude.
Yeah, I think that that's a really, really important statement. I have a bunch of first year athletes, and some of them have like very specific goals focused on results. And
Mm,
I just had like a breath of fresh air. One of the freshmen's like, I just want to have fun with my teammates.
mm,
Like if I have fun with my teammates, I think I'll do pretty well. And I'm like, all right, I can work with that.
yeah,
And I think having that realization is pretty important for a lot of athletes. It doesn't mean you're not working hard towards those goals. It just kind of finding joy in other aspects besides results.
yeah, absolutely. That's a good way to put it for sure.
All right, Collier. So talk to me about Kyle, what it's like to dive for him at Mizzou. Kind of pitch me on Mizzou if I'm,
Yeah,
back in the day, a potential student that's like, hey man, tell me about this place.
for sure. Yeah. Diving for Kyle has been such an honor so far. He's a really he's a really knowledgeable guy. He knows a lot about like mechanically and technically about diving. But I think what makes him such a great coach is that he's very individualized. He is constantly trying to evaluate, strengths and weaknesses of someone's diving, and he's trying to find things that are going to work for this person that may not work for a lot of other people, or vice versa. He's finding things that just don't work for, me or someone particularly, that generally are taught, like in diving factories like Mile High and Moss Farms and stuff like that. So I think that makes him an exceptional coach, and I think big things are coming. And then um, the swim coaches at Mizzou are also very, very pro diving, and so it's really provided uh, an environment where a culture can be cultivated for divers to kind of feel valued and wanted. by the swimmers and all the coaches in general. So I really love how it feels this year. It's a bigger team, both swimming and diving, and it's just, I think it's really great. I think you're not going to want to miss this opportunity, Aaron.
I, I love that. That's awesome. Yeah. And, that's kind of an understated thing that the swim program has support for the diving program.
It's
There's a lot right now in the NCAA with potential roster caps, all kinds of different moving pieces. We really don't know what the landscape's going to look like in the next 2, 3, 5, 10 years. We have no clue. And so hearing that, Mizzou, their swimming program is super supportive of the divers and the diving program. I mean, that's awesome to hear and kind of encouraging.
Yeah, it is super great. And, they've been like that for as long as I've been at Mizzou. But, back when I was getting recruited, I was like, I'd never been to Missouri. I was like, what is in Missouri that could make me want to go over there? But I took my recruiting trip. It was my first one, and I just love how close the swim and dive team felt. It really feels like a family this year, and yeah, just blessed to be a part of it.
Cool.
So Collier, you kind of touched on it real briefly in terms of the team is bigger. You also added a pretty high profile assistant coach in Brandon Losciavo. So we know it's been pretty like maybe a month and a half ish. So can you just talk to us about like how is he adding to the team? How's he fitting in? What are you guys looking forward to with him as now as a coach as opposed to a competitor for you just a few months ago?
Yeah, he is awesome. Personality wise, I mean, he's an excitable guy. Uh, so I had just driven back to Missouri from Colorado, like August 14th or something. I don't know. But I walked into this meeting we were having as a swim and dive team, and I was like, that guy looks a lot like Brandon Losciavo. Um, but yeah, I walked in and I was like, oh wow, okay. He's our coach, I guess. And I went up to Kyle, I was like, I think you forgot to tell me something. But he was hired like 3 days before that or something. It was made official. But yeah, what a great opportunity and what an
Yeah.
honor it is to get to be coached by him. He's an excitable guy, and I think he's got a way with words where, at least for my learning style, like I really understand what he's telling me and why he's telling it to me.
Yeah.
And, being a diver so recently, he knows how it feels to hit dives and he knows how it feels to not be hitting dives. And I think that's uh, something that a lot of coaches take for granted. Um, and yeah, he's been great so far.
You're making me excited about his future coaching career because all I'm hearing right now is like he's very good at communicating. He can talk the talk. Obviously, he walked the walk. So this is exciting stuff. I'm pretty pumped up to see what Brando is able to do. Obviously, it's still new but yeah, I think I totally agree. Anytime we have a conversation with Brando, it's like, dang, this guy just kind of gets it.
Yeah,
It's hard to say what it is, but he just gets it.
I think it's just like he's really good at articulating things. And that it's a diving thing, but it's probably just in general. That's probably just a gift that he has.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
and I mean, okay, I was just gonna say, and I mean, talk about like the mental side of diving helping you and how certain things fall into place. Like you take one of the more accomplished tower divers over the last 8 years and you get to have him as a coach now, and that wasn't a thing up until about a couple weeks ago. Like
Yeah.
talk about things kind of falling into alignment for you and helping you kind of just get where you want to go.
Yeah, well that's kind of exactly how it feels. It kind of just feels like the stars aligned and Mizzou's the place to be, and I'm glad I'm here. Yeah, but I mean, he's talked a lot about mentally, he's super into that. We haven't gone super in depth yet, but I'm excited to get to that at some point. Um, I know, I don't know how long he's been diving, but I would imagine it's a pretty long time. So he's probably seen and dealt with just about everything under the sun in the diving world. Um, but he's a good springboard coach too. Who knew?
I think I saw him do a 207 at
Yeah,
one like random meet, and it was like
yeah.
on springboard. You're like, what? Wait, what? Are you serious?
I think I know what video you're talking about. And I was like scrolling through the caption. I was like, what? Like, I thought he was this 10-meter diver. Why is he doing a 207 for 95 points? Like,
Right.
Yeah, that was cool. Way to mix it up out there. So hey, you mentioned some of your goals earlier, just enjoying it, being part of so I guess something bigger than just diving and results based. But what are some of your goals for your upcoming season and maybe even further?
Yeah, I'm not. I'm still pretty undecided of whether I'm going to go till 2028 or not. I would say my goals, sorry, this might sound a little broad also, but I'm not, during meets, I really don't want to hear a single score that I get. I don't want to know what score I have after the meet's over. So I think generally my goal this year would be to stay very process oriented. Um, and I think results are kind of a byproduct, and sometimes they're what you want, and sometimes they're not what you want. But knowing that uh, progress is never linear, I think is helpful, and just kind of trusting the process and feeling good about where I'm at the end of each day is probably just my goal for this whole season.
Cool.
All right, favorite diving memory, Collier.
Favorite diving memory. Okay, probably came this year. Um, Surprisingly enough, it was not hitting the tower on game. But at zones, my last dive was 107B, like in the final. And everything that day, I was just like soft miss, soft miss. I was like, man, like so frustrated. Um, and so I went up and I hadn't trained 109 for like 3 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. And so I went up to Kyle. I was like, Kyle, what you think? And he just looked at me and he said, do it. And so Drew Sheldon, our GA at the time, he was like, oh, okay. He had a very different reaction, but I went up and I changed my dive on the board and I think it went like 85 maybe. So that was a sweet memory. It was a sweet way to kind of cap off that event.
What an exclamation point. A soft miss here and there. And then, yeah,
Yeah.
let's just do 109 for 85. No big. I
Yeah,
love that.
it was fun.
That's cool. All right. So college life, are you able to have any free or fun time? And if you do have any, how do you spend that extra time?
Yeah, I love reading. I think reading is great. Um, that's probably not something that I would have said like a year ago. I did not love reading, but usually during my free time, I'm just like calling my people. I'll call my family, call my friends from back home, call my girlfriend. She's at Auburn right now. But yeah, just kind of making sure I'm still connected with people and um, yeah, I don't know.
That
That's about it. Not a whole
that's
lot of free.
cool. Yeah, no, I get that. And just to piggyback off that, I've started reading a little bit more, but I cheat a little. It's
Yeah,
definitely it's audiobooks. I don't read.
you can
So
count.
okay, so we'll count that. But I know Heath and I have been getting into a little bit of Adam Grant, and I just finished
Okay.
Hidden Potential, and that's an unbelievable book. If anybody is out there ready to listen or read it, physically read it, I struggle reading, but listening to it in the car, it's been awesome. It kind of has reframed a whole bunch of things and confirmed a whole bunch of things. It was a great book.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll give that a shot. I'm just at this
All right.
point I'm taking book recommendations and just adding them to the list.
That gets to be a dangerous game because
Ooh,
then you just start buying a bunch of books and you end up with just a bookshelf full of books you haven't read. That's where
noted.
I'm at. Like I just have to like slowly work on them. But all right, I think this is an easy answer. But Collier, who's your top ranked diver in the NCAA? So for this upcoming season, they have to be a college diver.
Yeah, this is gonna shock everyone, but I'd probably say Carson Tyler.
I thought you were gonna say yourself.
Oh no.
No, I agree. No, that's fair. What about women? How about that? There's a lot of really good
Ooh,
women this year.
okay.
What about women?
Yeah, that's really good. Um, Gosh. I might go with Bailey on tower.
Nice.
Yeah. I don't know. I
She,
don't know about springboard though. That's a good
she
question.
she's gonna be super jacked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's gonna be so pumped. She's gonna be like Heath and Collier are now the president and vice president of my fan club. Aaron's still my biggest enemy.
Yeah, I guess I'm her number one hater, but hey,
Oh, really?
You actually said like super nice stuff on the last podcast, and she still texted us and was like, "Aaron's still a hater."
you
Oh,
know,
man.
if I'm the one that's got to say, point your toes, and I'm the hater for it, I
So
guess
be it.
that's what it's gonna be.
So be
Right, fair enough.
it.
All right, Collier, what are you studying in school?
I just started taking classes in the upper level of our accounting program.
Oh,
So
cool.
it's a 5-year master's program here. So I'm not sure what I'll do for my 5th year here. Maybe I'll coach, maybe yeah, I'll figure it out. But yeah, that's what I'm studying.
Awesome. Yeah, I was a finance major, so I mean,
Oh,
in the same realm.
yeah, for sure.
Cool.
All right, Collier, what does success mean to you? Super broad, but let's see kind of wherever you want to take it.
I think, okay. I think success at the end of the day for me is, being able to look in the mirror and ask yourself on a daily basis, did I give 100% of what I had today with a good attitude? And if that answer is yes, I think for that day I was successful.
Cool.
Cool. Yeah, wow. And then you extrapolate that over a week, a month, a year. That's
Exactly.
that's cool.
Exactly.
All right, if you could change one rule in diving, what would it be?
Ooh, well, I would love to see mixed synchro in the Olympics. Um, that would be pretty cool. But I'd also love to see the ladies do 6 dives on platform.
Yes.
I think that would also be pretty neat.
I'm
Good
a
picks.
big subscriber to the ladies doing 6 dives as well. I think that would be fun. You know, we mentioned that and soft tossed that idea out there, and a lot of the 3 meter divers say, well, then you'll just see a lot of 105 Bs, and that's fine. But I
Yeah.
think you might also see a few more people do double out. You might see
Mm,
a few more people dabble with 307. I think it'd be fun to see who pushes it and fun to see, all right, I'm just going to do a 105 for, 60 points or 55 points, whatever, just
yeah,
to see.
100%. It could be an asset, like you're saying, or, it could be an element of consistency that everybody needs to hit a 105 for, 50 points.
Even a gainer twister. I would love to see
Yeah.
ladies do some more gainer twisters. That'd be fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so I added this one in here, Collier, because I think it's going to be a pretty common question that I enjoy asking people is what do you think USA Diving, more so the organization as opposed to individual athletes, what do you think USA Diving needs to do to be more competitive at the international meets?
Oof, that's a
It's okay if you don't have an answer too.
yeah. I think okay. I think, seeing like China, seeing how they have their population is like in the billions. I think USA Diving needs to find a way to just increase the talent pool, because China has so many athletes that they have hundreds of 1 in a million athletes. So I think with USA Diving, I think getting diving out there to younger people, older people, like it doesn't even matter. I would just love to see, just the population of our sport continuing to grow. And I think, long term, I think that would be really beneficial.
Yeah,
Nice. I
that's a
agree.
great idea.
And then before Aaron jumps to his signature questions, so there are a total of 7 people watching, which is awesome. So thank you for tuning in.
That's me.
If you have questions for Collier, just drop them in the chat and we'll be sure to ask them as we go through the signature questions. But
I
go ahead, Rooney.
I love that you said all 7 of you guys watching. Like that's the most like diving thing ever. Like, oh man, we love this sport. We're super excited, and there's 7 of us watching. I don't know.
Hey, I'll
I
take
don't
it.
know. I don't know why I think that's so
Hey,
funny.
if it makes you feel better, it's about 7 more than I think we normally get. So that's good.
Yeah, hey, we'll take it. All right, Collier, we're gonna get into our signature questions. The book by Adam Grant that I've been reading called Hidden Potential talks a lot about being uncomfortable, and he doesn't use the word failure, but I tend to. And basically, what he's alluding to is you learn more when things don't go right, right? You learn more when you fail. So I'd like to know what your favorite failure or best opportunity for growth has been.
Okay. Well, we've already talked about, the 304 on the 10 meter. So I'll pick another one. Probably my first and last junior national meet in Midland, Texas. 5 minutes before the 3 meter event, I got lost like badly on a gainer 3.5 twister, and I smacked like really bad. And this was like 5 minutes before the meet, and it was my last dive, and so I had to just like, I think I did a build up, and I was like, all right, just gotta send in the meet, and so I think I didn't fail it. I think it went fine, but I think I learned to, things are definitely like what can happen will happen. I think I still have some stuff to learn from that though.
Cool. All right. And then what are you doing to improve, whether it's in diving or just as a person? What are you doing to improve?
Well, I've mentioned how like, finding joy in the ups and the downs has been huge. I've started going to bed super early and waking up super early, so that has kind of flipped my whole day. So that's fun. But just little things like that,
I-
definitely.
I'm with you on early bed, early rise. So what is early to you?
Uh, I shoot for 9:30.
Nice.
So not super early for some people. Like I know Kyle goes to bed at like a ridiculously early time and wakes up also at a ridiculously early time. But for me that's early. And then getting up at like 5:15, 5:30.
Yeah. Our in our house, me and my wife, we try to go to bed at 8:30 p.m.
Yeah, okay.
Sometimes it drips into 9, but yeah, we're both up before 5, and it's
That's awesome.
it's a lot, but if you commit to it, it's kind of awesome. I mean, you just feel like you have more day to work with.
For
All
sure.
right. With diving, what's your why?
Mm. I think 3 months ago, my answer to this question is very different than what it is now. I think the reason I'm doing this is to honor and glorify God with the abilities and opportunities that He's given me, and with whatever that means. Just also being I guess an inspiration to people who picked up diving late. You know, just for them to know, like, you don't have to dive for 10 years to work hard and enjoy what you're doing.
Hey, let's dig into that faith piece. How do you use that in the sport of diving? Are there any times where you're like, man, I'm struggling? Let's just send a quick prayer up, or how do you, incorporate faith in your diving?
Well, I think, with the depth of my faith is actually pretty new to me. Um, but I would say, this year kind of just trusting God's sovereignty, knowing that, win or lose, like this isn't, where I'm rooted. My purpose is for a lot more. This isn't God's will for my life. So just finding comfort in that has
Yeah.
been helpful so far.
That's really cool and really powerful. There's always this intangible that I've seen with divers that are incredibly faithful.
Mm,
That when they're on the biggest stage, it's almost like there's no pressure in a way because
mm,
they know the story's been written and they're just out there doing what their God-given gifts have led them to, and it's really cool. And I enjoy when people share that kind of side of them and how they kind of navigate, I guess, our sport.
yeah, that's a good way to put it. I think Kobe Bryant said this one time. He said pressure is a made up construct. So that's an interesting way to think about it because, when you're up on 10 meter and everybody's watching, it feels like there's a lot of pressure. But, if I could figure out just like how to turn that off, I mean,
Yep.
that would be huge. That would be super cool.
Yeah, awesome. All right, my last one here. What's your spirit animal?
I would love to say something like an eagle or a lion, but to be honest, probably just like a golden retriever.
I love that.
I think I'm good
Oh
with
my gosh. I love that. My wife is obsessed with golden retrievers. This is going to be her
Really?
favorite episode.
That's
All
me.
all right. All right. So you do have some questions here. All right. Are you ready?
Uh-oh. Yeah.
A lot from Mia Henninger.
Oh boy.
Favorite twin, go. That's exactly what it says. Favorite twin, go.
Um, Whoever buys me Raising Cane's this week.
All right. Least favorite dive.
Least favorite dive. Probably like back dive on anything higher than 5 meter.
All right.
Yeah.
Fair.
I ask this one as a signature question, but we're giving Mia the credit for it right now. Favorite drill to do.
Ooh. Okay. Probably standing gainer lineup hopping on 3 meter springboard. Straight.
Ooh,
Hmm.
ooh. All right.
Yeah.
Springboarder platform.
Ooh. I don't know. Good question. Depends on the day.
All right. And then last one for Mia is Quinn Henninger or Mia Henninger.
All right. I'll go with Mia Henninger.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah,
And then
that
and
was the
then
correct response there.
and then Drew Sheldon is on here and he says, "No questions, just miss you, Collier."
Miss you too, Drew.
All right. So, and then the last few questions for you here, Collier. Best advice given and or received.
Say the best advice I've received is from my dad a year or two ago, and I remember writing this down like as soon as he said it because I was like, oh, I don't want to forget that. But he said grit cannot be developed in the absence of adversity. Don't ever waste adversity.
Hmm.
What you mind me asking? What does your dad do for a living?
He is a project manager for a hydroelectric dam for Toshiba International.
Wow.
All right. I was gonna say
What's your
that.
dad's name? I know we got to give him a shout out.
George Dyer.
George Dyer. Hey man, thanks for listening. We've heard that you listen to a lot of these, so we appreciate you, man.
Just
I,
made the
I
day.
I was just gonna say because that question is like very thoughtful, and I'm like, your dad definitely has to be a smart dude.
Yeah, I think he's a pretty wise guy.
Yeah, I
It took
think so
me
as
it took
well.
me it took me long enough to figure it out, but he's pretty smart.
Yeah, I have this statement with recruits that I say, and I truly mean it, where I'm like, one day you're gonna look at your parents and be like, you guys were right about everything. I said it might happen later in your life than you want. Like I
Yeah.
vividly remember like that happening with my mom, and like the day I was like, you were right about everything. She just started crying. And I'm like, if you've
Wow.
ever met my mom, like my mom will cry if I just hug her because that's
Really.
just like how she is. Yeah. So, all right, who would you like to hear us interview next?
Have you guys interviewed Brando?
Yes, we have.
Oh, okay. I'd probably say Tanner Broughton. He's at Texas right now. I think he'd have a lot of good things to say.
Just writing it down.
I think
All
we
right,
should get Brando back on, and
Yeah,
then maybe
as a coach.
let some time go by and pick his brain on some of the differences between being an athlete and being a coach. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
oh yeah, that would be awesome. I'd
All
love
right.
that.
And then last question for you tonight, Collier, is what question are Aaron and I not asking that we should be?
I think it would be super interesting to ask everybody what their learning style is and then just kind of keep track of these answers and then compare them. Because I think like as coaches, it's really interesting to see how different people learn because, if you're trying to explain something visually to someone who's like an audio processor, they're just like
Mhm.
not getting it and you don't
Yeah.
understand why. Like I think that'd be really cool to just like compare that over time.
Dude,
Yeah.
I am telling you, you have to read that book, Hidden Potential, because it talks about
Really?
learning styles and that. Like, I
Okay.
I read this book, and every time I turned it on in my car, the next chapter was like, "Yeah, this is great." So, and they touch on that too. It's awesome.
Sweet. Yeah. I'll definitely give that a read. I won't buy it yet because like Heath was saying, I don't want this shelf of books that's gonna fall over.
Hey, sometimes it comes in handy. Like every now and then I'll have an athlete that's like going through something. Like one sticks out to me. I had an athlete that just like they stress about everything. Like if they wake up on the wrong side of the bed, it's like it's not good. And so I literally had them borrow a book that says "Don't sweat the small stuff." And it's just
I've
like
heard of that.
99 like quick hitting things. And it's
Hmm.
like I think it's either the first piece or the last one is like it's all small stuff. Like that's all it is. It's all small stuff. But so every now and then it's nice to have the hard copy to just go and hand it to him and be like, read this. Like it'll
Hmm.
take you 3 days if you just even read a little bit. But no, so without keeping you too long, I just want to say thanks so much. It was awesome actually getting to meet you in person at trials, obviously. I had heard so many good things about you from Zach, my college diver, who's in a group text with you.
Oh
He's
yeah.
like, he's like, do you know who this Collier Dyer kid is? And I'm like, yeah, he's really good. And he's like, how good? And I'm like, beat you by like 150 points good on a bad day for him and a good day for you. And he's like, yeah, he sends us videos every now and then and he's really good. But I
Thank
think
God.
you do a great job of like being a good role model to other athletes. And that was very, very, very evident when we were on the pool deck with you at Olympic trials. You were just really fun to be around. So super excited to cheer for you this upcoming season. We will definitely be picking a lot of your dives in fantasy diving. Um, I do have to throw this out there. I think I said
Uh-oh.
this to someone else. I forget who. Oh, I told you.
I think you told
You kind
me.
Yeah, you kind of killed me because I was so pumped to have your 407 on 10 meter, and then you decided to just be a complete gangster and kick it like 1.5 on reverse 2.5. But it's okay because it was so worth like you learning 307 and it was awesome. But
Yeah, sorry.
no,
Sorry, you failed your last fantasy dive.
no,
Uh,
that's okay. It just redemption. Whenever I pick it next time, you're gonna smoke it. No big deal.
There
But
you go.
no,
The,
just makes it super fun. But no,
this
thank you
whole
so much. Go ahead, Rooney.
well, I was gonna say this whole fantasy diving thing is like very strange because you know how fantasy football players they get like DMs if they perform poorly. Like we actually know all of these divers, and so like calling them out for that, it's like, dude, really?
Yes. Yeah.
I wonder if that would help people or hurt them. Like if they got a DM from the diving pod and they were like, dude,
Not
your
good.
407 went
Not good.
48 points. Like what, my team sold. Like
I would
Definitely not the move.
I would be so mortified to even attempt like a thought
Yeah.
like that. That because like
yeah,
I love all of you guys, and
Yeah.
if a dive doesn't go well, I mean, oh well. Like
Yeah.
I,
yeah.
I'm still gonna cheer for you to do well.
Yep. Yeah.
Good way, good
It's
way to put
definitely
it.
definitely something we don't address unless it's someone we're very comfortable with and like can joke around a little bit with for sure. But
Yeah.
no, honestly, just thank you so much for joining us. For our listeners, just a reminder, it is the last opportunity this week to sign up for the last possible 2028 and beyond camp. The Mission Viejo one is no longer happening. But we do still have one here at Clarion. We have a really good turnout so far. We'd love to add a couple more if possible. An opportunity for you guys to get coached. I do mean this when I say it. I think it's the best coaching staff I've seen at a camp assembled in quite a long time. Drew Johansson, John Fox, Dave Rovat, Aaron, and myself. More so the first three than the last two coaches, but we have to throw ourselves in there. But no, I think it's going to be a really good experience. But thank you so much for joining us this evening, Collier. Thank you for the people that were watching at home. That's awesome. We have 10 now, so that's awesome. And then also before we go, Henry in the chat, I don't know what the last name is. Henry says, "We miss you back home, Collier."
Oh, thanks, Henry. Henry's mile high right now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome. Cool. Well, if you're out there listening, hit us up on Instagram. We are at The Diving Pod. Our email is thedivingpod@gmail.com. Another sponsor shout out for Cowing Robards. That's my family's online store. You know, we do custom screen printing and embroidery. If you need an example, just go to divingpod.itemorder.com. That is our online store. You can get a t-shirt or hoodie or anything you'd like. Just enter DivePod at checkout. That gets you free shipping. So, Collier, fun to finally get this one recorded. It's been a long time coming, and we appreciate you, man.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Perfect. All right, we'll see you